So there was an article in today's New York Times. It was an interview with one of its technology writers, or I think. Anyway, he was talking about how he uses tracking. So he tracks everything he eats, and that helped him lose 30 pounds over the past year. He tracks how much exercise he gets. There's an app for that. He tracks how much he sleeps and how well he sleeps. He tracks every penny he spends. And he tracks every dollar he earns. And he tracks his time. And it seems to be working really well for him. And reminds me that successful people I know, they tend to do these things. And these are common tools in a whole bunch of different 12-step programs that I know. That in a sex addiction program, you try to spend your life in top-line behaviors. So those are where you're at your best. So healthy work, healthy exercise, healthy food, practice of your religion, meditation, study, prayer, hobbies, things that keep you away from your addiction. Then there are middle line behaviors such as watching Netflix or TV, which not necessarily the most healthy, but you're not necessarily just hanging out on the abyss of your addiction. And then there are about at least 8 different 12-step programs to deal with food, and all of them have you track what you eat. And they also give you specific times of the day that you should eat. So you should eat breakfast between 6 and 8. You should eat lunch between, 11:30 and 1:30. You should eat dinner between 5 and 7. And people who are addicts, okay? Like, what type of people are we talking about? We're talking about people who had their soul punctured in childhood, okay? Just people who are just so beaten down in childhood, didn't have a safe place to turn for their anxiety, didn't learn how to connect normally with other people, and so they grow up without knowing boundaries. They grow up without common sense. They grow up without knowing how to connect normally and healthfully to other people. And so it's about half the population, it seems, are particularly prone to addictions. And then the other half of the population, they're not addicts at all. And so being someone with a lot of tendencies towards emotional addiction, I've really come to identify with the 12-step recovery world, and I like these tools of tracking. They've been valuable, and it doesn't mean that I do them every day. It doesn't mean that I do them perfectly, and it doesn't even mean that I still use all of them today. So for about 3 months, I tracked everything I spent and everything I earned. And after that, it was a holy exercise. Like, I felt God was in that, because God is in the details. And I did notice that there were things that I did not buy because I just didn't want the hassle of writing them down. So even though I don't track my spending and earning nearly as rigorously as I used to, at least I did it for 3 months, and I got an experience of it, and it affected me. And then I don't track my time as rigorously as I used to, because my time is scheduled. Okay, boom, 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 boom. It's pretty much scheduled throughout the day and on weekends. I have all sorts of commitments, and so whenever my time's not scheduled, which amounts to about 4 hours a day, weekdays, and on weekends probably have about 8 hours or so each day that's not scheduled, 8 to 10 hours not scheduled. So I don't track that time. You know, I'm off the clock because I've got so many commitments, obligations. I don't feel the need that I need to keep tracking because I've already got it lined up. And there's a terrific article on tracking all these different apps. So he was also asked, like, what are some things that you can buy to improve the quality of your life? And I've seen this list on different places, and I remember all these lists mention cordless headphones. So finally broke down and bought cordless headphones today. And I don't write down everything that I eat, but I see the power in that tool. One example of time tracking is that just various times of the day, you just write down the time and what you're doing. And why does he track what he eats? So he knows how many Oreos he eats a day, because we don't tend to hold ourselves accountable. Okay? If your boss just told you, just do what you think is right and left it there, you would, generally speaking, you'd take advantage of his generosity. So we don't tend to hold ourselves accountable. Therefore, I'd say half of us need to track. And anything that you're having a scarcity in, such as time, money, or problems with, you've got to track. Okay? If you're having problems with your sleep, you need to use an app to track the quality of your sleep so that you can pinpoint the problem. And if you're having problems with debt, debting is a disease of vagueness, you've got to track everything you spend. And that act of tracking will reduce stupid, heedless spending, thoughtless spending. Another tool in Debtors Anonymous program is that if you're ever going to spend over $300 for something that's not necessary, that you call someone in the program first. So you can take your time tracking tools, your spending tools, your earning calculations, and you can take them to what's called a pressure relief meeting in Debtors Anonymous, or an action meeting in Under Earners Anonymous, and then you can get feedback from other people who've, generally speaking, they've worked the 12 steps, they're more accomplished in the program. Historicity, I don't remember anyone getting under my skin. Okay, look at my forehead. Okay, do you see lines on my forehead, except when I have to strain to pull forward? There are no lines on my forehead. Okay, my forehead is clean. My forehead is clear. My forehead is unlined. I'm talking forehead nationalism. Why is my forehead free of creases? Why is my forehead such a beautiful forehead? Why aren't there all these weird lines and wrinkles and tension patterns around my forehead, around my face, around my eyes, around my lips? I'm a 52-year-old man. Why don't I have wrinkles? Because people don't get under my skin. Rarely do they get under my skin, and when they do, it rarely lasts. I'm not a guy who's worried, not a guy who's filled with resentment or anger. And if you don't believe me, just look at my forehead. Yeah, there's a scar right here. Okay? There's a scar when I had a traffic accident when I was 19. Other than that, my forehead is clean and clear because I don't have unnecessary tension. My shoulders are not aching. My shoulders are free. My arms are free. My voice is not strained. The skin around my eyes is free of tension. The skin around my lips, the muscles around my lips, free of tension. The muscles in my face and forehead, free of tension. So how do I do thousands of hours of live streams and I've never yet said something that I regretted so much that I felt the desire to take it down? I haven't even felt the desire to take down anything I've said in these live streams, let alone actually doing it. I've never had to take down anything I've said. because people don't get under my skin and trigger me into saying things that I regret. And how do you know that's true? Just look at my forehead. No creases, no lines, no wrinkles. You're responsible for your face over 40, okay? So that's because your habits, your patterns show up on your face. So if you're frowning all the time, your face will be filled with creases, lines, wrinkles, and frowning patterns. If you're smiling all the time, there will be smile patterns on your face. So whatever weird tension patterns you've got going in your life, they will start to etch their way into your life. So a lot of friends I know in their 30s, their forehead is just filled with wrinkles and creases and worry lines because there's all these weird interfering tension patterns. And every day that goes by, those lines just get deeper and deeper, and Botox won't get rid of them, and acupuncture won't get rid of them, because these are ingrained, usually unconscious reflections of tension patterns, meaning tightening, constricting like this. And the more you do this, the more you tighten, compress, pull down, tense up, squeeze yourself, then the more those patterns get ingrained. But if you don't do that, then you get a beautiful face like mine. Like, this is the face of freedom. This is the face of joy and happiness and love. Okay, this is a face of love and service. Okay, this is no wrinkles nationalism. That's what I'm all about. And one of the things that can contribute to no wrinkle nationalism is you track your time, you track your spending, you track your earning, so that you're on top of things. I've gotten into the habit, I just check my bank account every day. And I do use one credit card. So Debtors Anonymous struggled over this for many, many years. Then finally they came down on the side, you should never use a credit card. Well, I have one credit card, I use one credit card, and pretty much every day I check the balance. I pay it off in full every month without a problem. And so I'm tracking that way my spending and earning. It's a lot more effective than just checking it once a month. And therefore, I don't need to worry. I don't have worry lines on my forehead and on my face. I'm a happy guy. So yeah, I've got lots of areas where I need to improve. Need to improve on the quality of my sleep, but last 3 nights have been pretty damn good. And there are other parts of my life that I need to improve on. For example, to get a love life, you need to get a social life. I need to get more of a social life. Spending an awful lot of my time on these streams, preaching the gospel. So yeah, I need more of a social life, spend more time with friends. Improve the quality of my sleep. Doing pretty good on the exercise front. Biking about 4 miles a day on average, 5 days a week. Doing push-ups and planks. So my body's free of unnecessary tension. I don't have any aches and pains. And I just love that tool of tracking. So check out that New York Times article. When I get home, I will put a link to the New York Times article in question. Just a lot of good ideas for how you can track and stay in control of your life. And we don't naturally hold ourselves accountable. We naturally just want to take the easy way out. Yeah, there are 92 different 12-step fellowships. Yeah. And if you've got a particular problem, it really helps to be in that particular fellowship. So yeah, the 12 steps will translate to anyone, even if you don't believe you have an addiction. Everybody has parts of their life that they don't feel in control of. And every day I like to come back to thinking about, reflecting on which parts of my life have I struggled with not having control over, and just remembering that there's a lot of things I don't control. I'm just a bloke, I'm not God. And the capacity to make good decisions in certain areas of life does not come naturally to me. So I need to remind myself of that every day, like the areas of sex and love and relationships and living in community, spending, earning, prosperity. A lot of these things, prosperity does not come naturally to me. So I just come as a relief. Oh yeah, the capacity for me to make good decisions in the area of wealth development does not come to me. Yes, I talk more about the 12 steps than I talk about Orthodox Judaism. Because for years I talked more about Orthodox Judaism than I talked about the 12 steps. And Orthodox Judaism is great, but it's not going to overcome your addictions. So I used to have an audience that was in large part Orthodox Jews. Now, overwhelmingly, my audience is not Jewish, and so I don't talk as much about Orthodox Judaism, but if I get excited about something, I'll definitely talk about it.